So I'm Katy Henry and I'm a fertility acupuncturist. I'm a 5-element acupuncturist, and it came about that I was talking to somebody who'd had the most amazing experience with acupuncture when she started to bleed when she was pregnant with IVF, and it was acupuncture, not Western medicine, that stopped her bleed. She went on to have a healthy baby, and I just remember in that moment going, that's what I want to do. What an amazing thing to be able to help people with. So that was in 2000, and before I even left college I'd done some extra training, knew that it was where I wanted to be, and that's what I've done for the last 13 years. It's an incredibly emotional journey for couples trying to conceive, and I think there's a real beauty in being able to assist people on a body, mind, spirit level. It really, really is. So I liken it, the fertility journey, to grieving every month. When your period comes, it can feel like a huge grief, huge loss. And although everyone talks about working in monthly cycles, you actually work in 2 weekly cycles. So you'll have that pre-ovulation stage where you're active, and that whole bit of needing to have sex, I'm going to ovulate, and then you've got this period of 2 weeks when you're waiting, unsure, and then it can result in either terrible sadness when your period shows up or incredible joy. Of course, there are many stages to a fertility journey, so it's not, there's that initial stage of getting to know your body when you maybe come off the pill and you decide you want to conceive, and so there's a whole period of getting used to your body. It might happen sooner than you imagine. But more and more we see people who are trying for 6 months a year, and with every month that passes, it can become harder and harder to imagine and keep hopeful that you're going to conceive. I don't think we're prepared for it within education. Nobody ever talks to us about how our fertility changes as we get older, or the fact that we have so much information bombarded to us as teenage girls telling us that we're going to look at a willy and we're going to get pregnant. And of course, as a teenage girl, you are fertile, and there is an increased possibility that that will happen, or certainly a high chance that would happen. Whereas that's not necessarily the case for a woman as she gets into her 30s, 40s. As I've become more experienced, I tend to actually see people who are at the very sort of end of their fertility journey. So they may have already started an IVF route, they may have had multiple IVF attempts, some of which have been successful, some haven't, and they might be using quite serious drug regimes at that point. And I also see people who are moving on in terms of the end of their fertility journey, and maybe moving on and deciding whether or not they're going to adopt or whether or not they're going to stop trying. But of course there's a big leap from going from that, let's start getting pregnant, to, are we going to choose not to keep trying? So we see everything in between that. So that could be assisted, going to your GP for tests, it can be going for IUI, it can be egg donor, sperm donor. There's a whole load of reasons why it may or may not be happening.